Yeah, back again. Taking the opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. Got to do some transcribing for one of my patrons. And yeah, I'm enjoying doing these live streams. So why not do a bit of transcribing? Do something with you guys that you can maybe learn something from, something that you can enjoy. If you have any questions, I'm just going to sort of plough forward, get to work, talk to you about it a little bit while I'm doing it. And yeah, I'll be monitoring those comments. So hit me up if you have anything that you want to ask. Right, so I'm doing a Gino Matteo is the guy's name, I believe. Yeah, Gino Matteo, or Matteo. Live transcription that was done. This happened at one of my patrons' a blues course that he goes to, like a residential course. This was one of the gigs in the evenings. He filmed this, or one of his party filmed this. And we've talked about it a few times. Great example of mixing major and minor pentatonic over a blues progression. Pretty cool. So some nice ideas in it. So I thought it was might be fun to talk about. Upside Down's online. Right, so I'm loading this up. Probably could have had this loaded up beforehand, right? Let's get a look at this. Upside Down, how's the stream quality? Is it shuddery at all? I've changed the latency options. Echo. Fixed. Sorry. Additional audio settings. Right, new file. Should be okay now. Because again, I'm a professional. Right, let's take a look at this. Right, so as usual, I'm just going to play the file. I'll mark it out, I'll put in where the bars are, and then talk about it, get to work. So it sounds like this.
Can I get another water, please? Two waters. Make it 2 or 3.
I poured it.
Chuck, do we have to do this? Did you miss my stream on this very subject? You mean that stream? Sorry, you mean that video where Lucas Mann admitted that the video that he posted was a backing track? So I was right. So I showed a video of Lucas and I said, see this thing that you're seeing and the thing that you're hearing, they're not the same thing. I was right. This is stream. I'm not having this stream derailed by Lucas Mann's fucking cargo short ultra chads, as we're calling them now. So jog on if you don't want to learn something about blues.
Find that shit. Come on.
Goodbye. The thing that upsets these Lucas Mann fans more than anything else in the world is I do not give a shit what they think. Good idea, Upside Down. Right, that'll do. Do the first chorus. So yeah, this obviously is of interest to the student in question because his favourite bands like ZZ Top and like early ZZ Top. So he's really really into soulful blues, and I teach a lot of guys like that, and obviously they come from that background where they grew up and someone showed them the minor pentatonic scale, and then they've played for 20, 30, 40 years, and they've never really progressed beyond that minor pentatonic scale, and therefore they hear stuff like this and they can't understand why they can't play this with the 5 notes that they play. And the answer is, of course, that this, there's major pentatonic flavors in here, which are just, fantastic. So a huge part of like the lessons that I'm doing with him involve helping him to see and understand the difference between the major and the minor pentatonic and how it's okay to mix those two sounds, which of course is correct. So I saw Ben's comment. He's ripping, man. Ashamed to admit that you've never heard or seen this guy before. To be fair, Ben, neither had I until my patron sent me this video, and I still don't really know much about the guy. He's it's just a good blues player. Right. So, is it here? So he's starting on the 4 chord, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak that, add the subdivisions in there, so I've got 4 bars. Now, of course, the student in question, he did a great job of trying to transcribe this, but again, as you can probably imagine from the type of player that we're talking about here, with the history that he's had, he's not a schooled player, schooled musician in any way, shape or form. He's just somebody that's played a lot. So when it comes to transcribing this, he didn't do too bad a job of working out where the notes were, where to play, where to put your fingers. But writing the rhythms out was he was miles off. Having said that, of course, that's completely understandable because musically, this stuff is a fucker. Writing this stuff out is some of the hardest stuff that you can write out because it's so when the pulse is really slow like this, da 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 da. These guys throw a lot of notes in there and rhythmically lots of trills and stuff, so getting things really precise is a bastard. We're not necessarily needing to focus on getting these really precise because again we have to think about who the job is for. This particular job is for a student and his goal is to learn to get these sounds. He's enjoying what the guy's playing, he wants to do a better job of doing what the guy's playing. Now would it serve the student, would it serve the client in this case to transcribe this in a way that's going to be rhythmically complex on the page? Is he going to be able to interpret that level of detail from the page? Probably not. In fact, definitely not. So I'm not saying that I'm going to completely bastardize what's been playing, but I'm not going to go for very complicated tuplets for this when there might be slightly simpler ways of writing things out that are sort of 95% accurate, but the end result being something that looks really good on the page. So now I promise I will actually do some work. So he and goodbye. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, so the student sent me 2 versions of this video. He sent me the original full-length video, and then he sent me this same solo, the same intro solo, but chopped. So literally just the solo, okay? And he started it here. Because as far as he's concerned, that's where the solo begins, right? But we always, as transcribers, as students of music, as learners of this stuff, we have to have a much better understanding of the bigger picture, the full picture, if you like. So the wider pulse is very important. It's important to understand not just where the solo starts, but where beat 1 of that bar is. So beat 1 of that bar is actually here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to sit here and use all of my skills that I used to buy my house. How's Lucas doing? Again, guys, I just don't give a fuck. Right, 1, And this time signature wise, this is 12/8. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. Did it again. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. So we have to put that time signature in. I'm also going to put a tempo marking in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, when we do these tempo markings, it's dotted quarter notes. Da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So two ways we can do this. We could either use a tap tempo like that to give us dotted, I was going to say dotted crotchets, but that's me being European, dotted quarters. Or we could compute tempo. It's going to tell us that there's 61.2 beats per minute, and I know that framework is dotted quarters. What's this? A 1E and 2E and yeah. So you'd be off on that, Jerry, if you listen to the drums. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and of course you could divide each of those spaces by 4, but the pulse is 12/8. So we are just dealing with beat 2, right? This is the hardest stuff that you can transcribe because, like I say, it floats and it's in 12/8. It's a compound time signature, which is one where you're not dealing in groupings of 2 or 4, it's groupings of 3. So things really can float. See, rhythmically here you've got so many options. If you look at this note, it's before the hi-hat, right? So it's not that. You need to do this really slow. Ba. It's not ba 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 ba. He's a little bit early on it. If we just worry about the notes though at first. Okay, so in my mind I've processed the accurate rhythm, and I've processed a nice quantization. Let me write them both down and we'll talk about them both. So one would be disappeared. Yeah, okay. It's an F. Turn that up a bit. You should be able to hear that. Now you've got to group that together. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so if we just go with that as the first, and let me finish the bar actually. Zoom in on that. Sorry, allow me to sit here and demonstrate all the skills that Lucas Mann and Charles Casper don't have. Oh, whoops. Now, how far is he bending this? Guys like that pay me to do this. You notice I don't pay them to do anything. Okay, right. So rhythmically, I'm okay with this. This is, rhythmically I'm not okay with this, but rhythmically, this is how, if you were going into like ultra detail, if you were to write this in ultra detail kind of stuff. Let me loop the bar so you can hear it a few times. And then I'm going to simplify what I've written to make it look better on the page, make it something that the student is going to be able to study. So, here it is at speed. And then we've got I don't like the full step there. Oh, should do the loop. Let me listen to that. I mean, it really, that last one really is like here, and then he immediately dies. Let's put, let's see how it sounds with that slide on there. I don't like either, but they both work. So yeah, that would be an overly complicated representation of rhythmically what I was going to do. Now, if I was going to teach this to somebody in a way that you'd be able to slow it down, I would probably write. Yeah, so I'm going to write the same thing in the next bar, and I'm going to write it like this. Something to fix all of this. Let's have a look. Right, let's put it on a separate line so we can process the difference between these two things. Okay. So I think I prefer that. Now, just from the perspective of reading, I think this bottom one is a little bit easier to comprehend. If we listen to the subtle differences between the two of them, though, you'll get an idea of the difference. So the difference will be so minor, but the kind of processing, the ability to process what's happening on that second line is a little bit easier. And then that should really be staccato. I fucking hate it because it's not quite. It's definitely not a half step, but that full step, it's a MIDI thing, right? The MIDI just sounds a little bit fucking gaudy when you do it like that. Yeah. So, interesting. Levi in an fMRI sees brain using the same areas of language translation. That, yeah, I guess from a scientific perspective, that would be interesting. Right, so that's what I'm going to stick with, just because, yeah, and my goal is to get something that looks good on the page, something that you can process. This, from a teaching perspective, is very easy. When we look at this and we think of a bar of 12/8 as being, a compound time signature, it's eighth notes. So the first eighth note of this, nothing happens. The second eighth note, we have a triplet, and then the third eighth note, we have a note. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In our case, will be rest, triple note. Rest, triple note. That's easy to process rhythmically. The same idea happens in the second beat here. well, technically it's the third beat, but you can see that's an eighth note of value. So you have a 16th note followed by it's a triplet, it's a trill. I'd really just be thinking trill. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, note, triplet, note, note, triplet, note, note, triplet, note, 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 triplet, note, 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 triplet, note, note. Yeah. And then this is 16th, 8th, 16th. So syncopation, if you like.
Can I get a little water?
Now, the lesson that I'm really kind of trying to encourage the student to process here, and this is more of an ear training lesson than it is a transcribing lesson. If you listen to these first two bars, they are distinctly different in flavour. Check it. So the first bar, and he plays a phrase, and then he's going to take a break, take a pause, and he's going to play a different phrase. And the phrase he plays second sounds very different in overall feel to the first. Just listen to them.
Can I get a little water, please?
Now, what's the difference between those two phrases? This is a lesson I took from Dan Smith of the Guitar Hour podcast. Good friend of mine, great player, incredible player. What should we be taking from this? Well, when we're transcribing things like this, your goal is to really anticipate, or let me rephrase that. When you're learning something like this, your goal should be to anticipate or to try and understand or describe what the thing is that you're learning before you actually learn it. So I'm going to play it one more time, just let you think about it, and we're going to read that comment and respond to it.
Can I get a little water, please? Make it water. Make it.
So what's the difference between those two phrases? Jerry's got it. What's my opinion on artists who can't grasp music theory on a level like this? Absolutely no problem with them whatsoever. Absolutely no problem with them whatsoever. I am, I'm fluent in the language. I don't think that you need to be fluent in... I don't think you need to be able to describe to someone what a verb is to be able to write good language, right? Or you don't need to be able to distinguish between an adjective and a noun to be able to write a good sentence, right? So, yeah, absolutely don't look down on anyone for their musical understanding or anything. It's really unnecessary to do so, I would say. Jerry is spot on. So we have a major pentatonic phrase and then a minor pentatonic phrase. Call is in major, response is in minor. Listen to it again. Major pentatonic. Pause. Minor.
Can I get a little water, please? Make it water. Make it.
And that's a lesson. You can take something from that. From a phrasing perspective yourself, when you're practicing, play a phrase using major. Rest. And the rest is important. Let it breathe. Rest. Silence. Silence is golden. Then minor phrase. Sounds wonderful. Sounds really nice. My friend Nick Harrison sent me a quote today, and I want to quote him directly on this because it was a really nice quote. Nick's a very wise man. I'm a huge fan of owls. I have an owl tattooed on me. I keep owls around. I have owls everywhere. There's an owl here. But if Nick were to be reincarnated as an animal, Nick would be an owl. So the quote is, only speak if you can improve upon the piece. I like that. Only speak if you can improve upon the piece. Coming from a man who is currently just talking into the ether on the internet, I'm sure most people would appreciate me shutting up. Right. So, yeah, nice major pentatonic phrase. I'll analyse them once I've transcribed them. So we've done the major. Let's do the minor. So 2 whole beats of rest in the start of that next bar. Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. Again, I'm going to quantize this right off the bat. Does he bend? Is that a pre-bend? You could triplet that, da 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 da, but yeah, no. So I'm correcting the enharmonics, making things enharmonically correct as I go.
Can I get another? Can I get another water, please?
Staccato.
Can I get a?
Blues bend, of course. Blues curl.
Can I get another water, please? Another water, please. Another water, please. Thank you. Thank you, water.
Now, I'm not so worried about this,
Water.
but we'll put the phrase in anyway. What is he playing?
Thank you, water.
Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. I'm getting lost. So there should be a rest before this. There we go. That's a great question. I wonder if they did bring him water. You can see the water coming in here, fortunately. The poor man is parched. Is he playing a deluxe telly with a Strat neck? It would look that way, but I believe they made some deluxe tellies with this neck. I could totally be wrong on that. I'm going to let it play just so you can see that he gets his water, because I know you're all concerned about him. That makes you good people.
Make it two, like three.
It's I poured it for you.
Oh no, it's not suitable for him.
Make it talk.
Here I am. Come on, Gino. Find that shit. Find that shit. Come on.
You know what, guys? I don't think he gets his water. I'm glad you enjoy it, Archie. Right, so I'm going to take a, well, not a break, but I'm just going to, from a musical perspective, I'm going to actually take a look at what happened there. So I'm going to turn my amplifier on, because I can do that now. Being in a soundproof studio, doesn't matter that it's, what time is it? It doesn't matter that it's 2:30 in the morning. I can do this stuff if I want to. I will give you the full screen so you can see what I'm doing. There's my cable. Cool. Should be able to hear that. I'll bring myself up so you can see. What VPick has brought to you? What VPick is this brought to you by tonight? We're using the Euro 2, which is a very traditional shape pick. Nice sharp point on it, but it's got holes cut in it, which for grip. So yeah. So having an understanding of why we transcribe and the benefits of it, how we can develop and use this in our own playing, how we can listen to something and say, I like that, anticipate what it is, I think it's this, transcribe it, learn, maybe be right, maybe be wrong. You'll find that the more you do that, the more accurate you'll be with your anticipations on things. and then the actual learning of things, right? So if we just look at what he's playing here, what is it? Is it blues in? Is it in C?
Make it 2 and 3.
It's I poured it for you.
Blues in F.
Make it talk.
Here I am. Come on, Gino. Find that shit. Find that shit. Come on.
Getting carried away. Yeah, so it's blues in F, right? Blues in F. So F major pentatonic and F minor pentatonic is what we would be expecting. If we look at what those would be, if we finger those up at the 13th fret, F major would be F major, and F minor would be So let's take a look at the phrase. So the phrase that he plays, and we're not talking rhythmically, I'm not worried about that at this stage. We're just looking, I always describe it as a road map, okay? So if we take a look at the road map of what he plays, it's this. That's a major lick, right? It's such an obvious major lick. Very obviously major. And then when you offset that against the lick that he follows that with, he follows that with this. Words to that effect, okay? So just dealing with where he plays the notes. That's so obviously minor pentatonic. So yeah, when you offset the two, when you play one after the other, you have a nice major phrase. And then minor. It's got that nice refreshing sound. I want to check one note of that because I feel I've got that note the wrong way around.
Make it another water, please. Make it water.
Oh, it is, yeah. Right, let me read these comments. Always helps me remember stuff if I've written it down. Need to be able to do it with the licks. Yep. Hello, Levi, and everyone in the chat. Been enjoying your videos over the past week. Received notification that you were on live. Hello from New Jersey. I love New Jersey. I have friends out in New Jersey. The band Thank You Scientists are out in New Jersey. Go and check those guys out. They rock. And across the river in New York, I mean New York City. Woo! My favourite city in the world. I've seen a lot of the world and there's nothing like New York. Absolutely nothing like New York. So there's our two licks. Major pentatonic. minor. So nice little phrases. Minor, major. You play these nice long major phrases like that, right? And then minor. And it has a lot of impact, So back to transcribing. And yes, upside down, it's really nice being able to turn my amp on. It's a lovely amp, beautiful amp. Beautiful amp. You'll notice it has my face on it. Also has Mike's face on it. And it says Guitar Souls on it. Can't help myself. Has Lucas Man got an amp with his face on it? Oh, are any of those fucking cargo short wearing ultra chads in the chat anymore? Right, back to it. Cool. So we got these two phrases. Very nice phrases. Very cool phrases.
Make it water, make it two. Water, make it two.
So we could put this on. I'm just going to put it on the beat, even though it's slightly after.
Make it two, three.
It's at 40-40.
So we've got lots of space here. Lots of space. We like space. Lots of space. Minor.
It's at 40.
Oh, what? Levi face? What are you talking about?
At 40.
Oh, on the amps.
At 40. At 40.
She poured it for him.
At 40. At 40.
It's like she's singing.
At 40.
I poured it for you.
At 40. At 40.
Yeah, rhythmically, I don't like it either way, but I'm going to go. I'm just going to do that. She poured it for him. It's funny because like they never seem like they move beyond high school. Part of me hates doing the arrogant thing because I am getting older. Like I'm 30. I'm 31 now. I don't need a huge portion of my. I'll bring myself up. A huge portion of Angry Levi on YouTube comes from where I've come from in life, like my background and all the fighting I've had to do to get where I am. For those of you that are new to my channel, like I didn't have a good upbringing by any stretch of the imagination. I was born in ultra poverty. I was born in ultra poverty to 2 heroin addicts. Nobody in my family has amounted to anything. And pulling yourself out of that when nobody in your family has even gone to university and being the one that is like, fuck this, I don't want to be like everyone else in this family. I want to go out and do my shit. I want to go out and be a person, be successful, was a huge driving force for me. It was always a huge driving force to go out and do that. But also at the same time, the fear of failure was always there. And unlike everyone else that I've met along the way, or at least a lot of people that I've met along the way, if they failed, they had a safety net to fall back on. They had their parents there. They had family around them to support them. And I've never had that. Like, I've never had that support network there whatsoever. If I failed at any point on my journey to being successful as in the music world, that was it. Fucking game over. And sure, I have been very lucky in a lot of opportunities that have come my way, but I also do believe that I think everybody gets opportunities. Opportunities are there. There's plenty of everyone meets opportunities, right? I've just spent my entire life like this, fucking ready, jump. As soon as an opportunity, I'd fucking jump on it, right? But in what goes in with that is I've had a bad attitude on me for years, and I'm trying to get out of it now. I'm trying to fight my way out of having that bad attitude. I love getting, shirty with people. I love being a shitbag to people online. But actually, it's not what I do. It's not what I do. I am very good at what I do, and there's a reason I've, forged a career out of it. So when you have the fucking ultra chads like acting like high school kids, like, my hero's more successful than you. Is he? I mean, is he? I don't know. He might be, but I'm okay. I do all right. I don't need to go down that route of comparing fucking bank balances. I do all right. I own my house. I built a beautiful studio. I've got companies sending me guitars and amps and fucking. I've got an amp with my fucking face on it. I do good. So when you got the fucking ultra chaz coming at you going, who the fuck are you? That's who I am, fucker. That's who I am, fucker. The better question is, who the fuck are you? Right.
I'm
Good example of this. We could really get into the nitty-gritties of what he plays, but works. He's just lazy with it, and that's part of his style. So I'm going to put this in as a pre-bend on the 16th fret. I'm going to staccato it, but I don't need to. We could fuck around with that, but I like that. It's going to look good on the page. Should we write that? So there's some scuffs in here, but I'm just going to write I'm just going to put that as a ghost note in there because it will work. We can tie that across into the next beat. Now you've got this nice slide up, slide down thing. I'm just going to put them on the beat. Tailed Feature is online. How's it going, man? Every time I see you online, dude, it's so tempting to just say your name, and then I'm like, shit, nope, there's a reason you don't have your name. Right, let me read some of these comments. Hunt the God just bought my first house and got out of the ghetto. Congratulations, man. It's I live in Wishaw, so I still kind of live in a ghetto. Archie, not having that support would be scary. I've relied on mine too many times. It became a crutch. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely that's why I am the way I am. That's why I'm a fighter. I fight with anyone because I constantly feel like if I don't fight, someone will take shit away from you, and if you don't, everything disappears. We don't want that. I've got a family to look after. Russell, have I transcribed? You know what? I've never actually transcribed any 9-string. I wouldn't say no to 9-string stuff though, in the same way that I transcribed a bunch of 8-string stuff before I owned an 8-string. In fact, I didn't even own a 7-string when I was transcribing 8-string stuff. So we like this. Lots of rest. My favourite transcription jobs are the ones where you just have loads and loads of rest like that. Dominic, finding a time for live. And you got to go to bed. Thank you very much for your mark, Dominic. I appreciate it, buddy. Connor makes a great point. I'm an Englishman. I'm an arrogant Englishman living in Scotland, in a rough part of Scotland. So you got to be prepared to stick up for yourself all the time.
Make it talk. Talk. Talk.
I really like that.
Talk.
Here I am. Come on, Gino. Find that shit.
As much as I am enjoying this, I really want to go into the house and play Days Gone. So because this is for, a student, I am going to put little markings in like this, right? Major pen, okay? This phrase is major pen. And then here we have minor pen. And it's actually minor meant. Goodbye. The Ultra Chads, they collect. The Ultra Chads are annoyed that I get paid to play stuff. I can be very aggressive, Dave, man. Is Scotland safer than England? Not for an Englishman. Not for an Englishman. No, I say that. I've never had any problems living in Scotland. I find the Scottish people to be very welcoming, very kind, very funny people. I think you have to have a sense of humour about everything when you live in a country that is constantly raining, just constantly raining. Have I heard of? I can't say I have. You don't know how to pronounce it. No, me neither. I would love to put some on, Archie, but I keep finding that every time I play YouTube clips on my streams that my videos get flagged. And it's a pain in the ass. I don't want to have to deal with that. So, Luke, imagine going to the effort of making a little YouTube channel called Lucas Manfan so you can have a little poke. A little poke. Oh. Dodgy areas in every country, to be honest. Yeah, to be fair, I lived in London for over 10 years. Was it over 10 years? About 10 years, and that was whew, that was not. In all the time I've lived in Scotland, none of my friends have ever been mugged. None of my friends have ever been marched to a cash point at gunpoint to take money out for them. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, Scotland is pretty safe. So yeah. Anyway, I'm putting these little fragments in. I have some news actually, guys. I'm going to tell you about this in a second.
Can I get another water, please? Make it water. Make it 2 or 3.
I poured it for you.
Just put the chords in.
Make it talk.
Here I am. Come on, Gino. Find that shit. Come on.
Oh, whoops. Could put staccato markings on that. Yeah, man. If you could hurry up and move home, though, Connor, that'd be awesome. Robot Technology says, I went in Scotland 4 years ago and in London 3 months ago. Yeah, I do love both cities. I'm re-releasing. This is a... I'll do this like... I am re-releasing my album this month. Both albums, they'll be coming out again as one complete edition. I'm going to be adding a bonus track, which is the full length Guitar Souls theme tune. I just need to... I can edit this. Let's change this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Huh. I'm just looking to see if I can tweak this. I'm unable to put the date where I need it to be, or where I want it to be. That's a shame. Sorry, let me just email my guy on this, because if I forget, it'll be... how do I do this? Makes it an interesting stream, doesn't it? There we go. Right. That's email notifications turned off. Distro kid. Right, sorry guys. I knew if I forgot to do that, I'd kick myself. So let me see this. Working on it, dude. No, I'm still here, Robert. How's it going, Robert? This is me in my new studio, Tailed, yeah. Yes, so I'm re-releasing my album this month, Upside Down. Let me just bring it up so you can see a nice little teaser. How do I access this? There we go. I'm going to give you a brief sort of thought process behind why I'm doing this. I'm making a video on the subject of Spotify and whether or not Spotify is an issue. So come, I think, next week, you'll be able to grab a copy of Out of the Ashes, the complete collection. It's 22 tracks. It's both the original Out of the Ashes album, the special edition bonus track, Forever Again, and then the instrumental plus shit tons of lead guitar and guest solos from some of my friends' companion album, if you like, along with the Guitar Souls theme. And some very crudely redone artwork by myself because I'm not a designer, believe it or not. And the thought process behind this is very simple. Yeah. So I was talking to people about Spotify, and whether or not Spotify is a good use of people's time. I don't really actually believe in iTunes anymore. I don't believe in the Google Play Store. I don't believe in putting your music anywhere where people are expected to pay money for it, where they're encouraged to pay money for it. You'll be able to download the album for $5.99. That's as cheap as I could make it. I don't really want anybody to purchase it because you can just stream it on Spotify. And although I will make virtually no money from that, this album isn't about making money. The album was never about making money. I wanted to make sure that it was paid for, but the album was always about art, right? The album was always about... Who do you know on the album, Tailed? The album was always about art. It was about expressing myself. It was about writing music and getting stuff off my chest. And I would so much rather 10,000 people listened to my album than 100 people bought it. I'd rather 10,000 people listen to it and I didn't get paid a penny than 100 people bought it. I'd rather 10,000 people listened to it and I didn't get paid a penny than 1,000 people bought it. It's just not about money. That's not why artists make art, right? So I'm really looking forward to making that video next week and dropping that on everyone because that'll be fun. Yes, Lyle is on the album. Lyle's a very good guitar player. Very good.
Here I am. Come on, Jimmy. Find that shit. Come on.
Does he go to a C chord here? Did I switch cameras? No, I didn't. There we go. How we doing for time? I don't want to keep you guys up too long.
Come on. Find that shit. Come on.
Now here is where you might use a tuplet, and I actually am going to use a tuplet for this. I will explain why.
Come on, Jimmy. Find that shit. Come on.
So we've got both chords here. We have F7. It stays on the F7, sorry, from the previous bar, and it goes to C7 for the last two beats. Sorry. Right. So here he plays 4 notes. I'm not going to use a tuplet. Rhythmically, we've got 2 options. We could either write it as a grouping of 4, i.e. 4 in the space of 3, da 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 da, 4 in the space of that fragment, or we could fuck with the rhythm a little bit and write it as an 8th note, 2 16th notes, and an 8th note, da ba bu ba 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 bu ba 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 bu ba. So the question you have to ask when you listen to this is: are the notes evenly spaced? 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. That's against 3. 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. 4 against 3, or are we going ba ba bu ba 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 bu ba? The answer is neither. It's neither of those 2 rhythms. But those are the 2 that would make practical sense for reading. So we want to go with one of them. So I'm going to go with...
Come on.
Yeah, I like... Ba, 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 ba. Major. Ba, boo, ba, ba, ba. Move my face out of the way. Go back to an F chord here. F7. One, two, three, 1. Robert Baker says, I use Guitar Pro all the time. It's amazing how quick I am at it. Yeah, I'm really fast in Guitar Pro. Tailed, stick at it, man. It's the best. And more importantly, when are you going to come down here and hang out in my studio? There's a nice phrase. Minor pentatonic ends on major. Beautiful. So we're definitely moving into triplets here. Whoops. Robert, this is Gino Matteo. This was one of my patrons, a guy by the name of Kevin. He goes to these residential blues courses regularly. He finds it a great way to kind of meet blues players, great blues players, and he gets to have lessons with a bunch of great teachers. And this was just from one of the, open night sessions in the evening where everyone would get up and have a jam. And Gino was one of the teachers there. And yeah, Robert, I cannot wait to, after I saw that Facebook post that you put up of the story of the Strat, I cannot wait to see that. That is such a cool story. He'll be doing that, but now I'm just going to write it like that, even though it's not strictly accurate, and I'm going to analyse that line. I'm going to bring up my guitar, put the last beat in. Because that's such a cool line and it deserves being talked about. Tailed, I'm self-employed. I'm free all the time. I planned to be working all day today, and then Marcus messaged me. He was like, dude, do you want to go play some cards? And I was like, yeah. He's like, if you're not getting anything on. And I was like, well, I was planning on doing some work, but I don't have to. I do what I want. Right, cool. So that lick, this entire section, really, I guess, is the start of a chorus, right? So again, we talk major pentatonic. And minor. So major and minor, super important. This lick, he, at the start, where he was being very one or the other, major, minor. Here he blends them a little bit more. So the start of the phrase is very much major, but then he immediately bends to the flat third of F. So that's our first phrase. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. Nice little phrase, right? Major and minor together. Then the phrase he plays is this. Now that Well, that's very definitely the flat third of F, not in the major, and bending up to the fourth. Again, not in major. So major, and then, sorry, not lose the bend. Major to minor, to my ears at least. And then the phrase that he moves on to is this really cool minor pentatonic. And then we end on, now that very much is that minor pentatonic, or the sus sound, resolving to the major third. So I like licks like that. Minor pentatonic. And as soon as you hit that A natural, instead of minor pentatonic, which would be, that would be nothing wrong with that, playing minor pentatonic. Absolutely nothing wrong with playing that A flat, which is minor pentatonic, but major pentatonic, hitting that A natural, instantly gives it that kind of, ooh, you know, what was that? What was that? The example I always think of for that is in Robin Ford's Talk to Your Daughter, he plays this. That's such a great lick. Well, he actually plays with a trill, but I've always played. That's a really nice phrase. Bum, bum, ba, ba. In fact, let me just lay that down as a loop, just so you can hear it in context. So that lick in context, nice and slow. So it's the same idea here, the lick is ending on that third, very cool. Oh, sorry. So, major to minor, major to minor, major to minor, major to minor. Oh yeah, Robert, add that. Oh, let's do that. Let's do the major six. Like, this turned into a guitar lesson for some reason. But. So to me, the major six is one of two things. You can add it to minor pentatonic, you get that Robin Ford sound. Minor pentatonic. Add the six. Which is cool, but actually to me, when you play that, it's a major pentatonic flavour. Now I'm going to give you a secret. Obviously this isn't aimed at Robert, because Robert's like a ridiculously good player. I learned this from Jimmy Herring. Okay, this is such a cool lick. When we play minor pentatonic, as a slide player, I consider myself a slide player. I play a lot of slide, right? A lick that I'll always do is when I land on the root, I'll slide up to the flat third and I'll do a little blues splinter. So that's that slide up to that flat third. Sounds super cool. So that's sliding up to the flat third. Now you can do a similar idea, sliding down to the flat 7. You get this. Combine the two, you get this. Which sounds really cool. So the Jimmy Herring lick is to slide down to the 6th instead of the flat 7. So you get this. You get this. You go. Now if I put a bit more overdrive, just unplugged myself, didn't I? Oh, cable. Turn that down. Maybe a bit of delay. There's a cool lick. Bluesy to go. Again, very Jimmy Herring, right? Oofed. Yeah. Oh, fucking. My question in life is why don't I do everything that Jimmy Herring does? Because he's just too damn good. So, remember technology, haven't transcribed anything for 4 years. Videos are definitely prodding you towards doing it. Awesome. I'm going to head off in a second, guys, because I've been on for an hour and 15 minutes and no one wants to listen to my bollocks much longer than this. This track's over a dominant 7, though, right? So the minor third is more of a is more spicy than the major third in the context. That's a great point, Aaron, and you're absolutely right. It is very subjective. Of course, this is over an F7 chord, or that lick was G. So that's very much G7. Over that, the inside sound is the third. But culturally, because of all the music that we listen to, it's a lot more culturally accepted to play the flat third. There are absolutely guys like who do I want to pick as an example of this? Just about any blues rock guy, actually, where that major third probably isn't to taste. If you grew up listening to certain areas of blues, you're less inclined to. But because I got so much country in my playing, like to me. I'm in G. That major sound is very in my ear, but some guys just don't like it. So that one's totally up to you. You're absolutely right, Aaron. It's very subjective. Alex's favourite blues interval is the 1/6, the flat third, that tritone. Yeah. I am a fake, Lemmy. I can't help myself. Sounds dope. I like the 6 slide down better than the flat 7. Absolutely, Alex. That whole sound is just like and you don't. The beauty of that 6 thing is you don't need to play it at all. You can, if you're playing in D, you can. And then just at the end, well, I mean, that lick was probably a bit long, but if you're playing nice short licks, you can just add that little major, that major 6 in there for flavour, and it has a ton of punch. I really want to turn my delay off. Jimmy Herring sounds like Derek Trucks without an actual slide. That's such a great description. Listen to your balls. Listen to your thoughts and skills. I'm not sure what that means, Dave, man. Listen to your balls. Nope. Listening to your thoughts and skills. How would you work in the diminished sound? I mean, this is turning into a lesson. I don't do it like I was going to say. I'm famous for like diminished being a sound that I don't like. I love it, but I struggle with the actual sound because I've done all my years of practicing going. Which is like your classic diminished sequence. In all honesty, I don't play a shit ton of it, When I do it though, it's more like triad based. So if I am playing over a G chord, I know that you can get that heavy diminished sound by playing an E triad. So if I play don't really want to. Again, Scott Henderson wouldn't do that. I keep doing that, don't I? Don't. Because you can. Sorry. I'm playing G. I went into Lydian dominant there, but I like that sound more. Never considered the blues tradition, cultural aspect determine the outside spiciness of the major minor sound. Yeah, absolutely. There are certain blues bands that you could play in. If you played the major third, just wouldn't sound right at all. Robert's absolutely right. Telly is made by the fact that your bridge pickup is mounted into and on that metal plate. That makes it really bah, just so much bite. And picking by the bridge. That'll be me. That's me done playing. Right. Telly does have a great sound. And these are, you're absolutely right, these are Joe Barden pickups. Because I've modelled this after Danny Gatton's 53 Telly. Obviously it's not a 53 Telly, I wish it was. But it's got a Dingus mounting plate on there made by Carson Hess to give it that Danny Gatton look. Love this guitar. That's just a cheap Mexican Telly that I've modified. I wish I could bullet, but I've unplugged my guitar and it's 3:30 in the morning and I want to go and do other things. So lastly, big thank you to Patreon supporters. You guys rock. I love doing these late night streams when I'm doing a bit of work. I'll do a little bit more work, then go do some other things, because I can stay up as late as I want because I'm an adult. My parents can't tell me when to go to bed. My parents are probably high. Check out one of my books on Amazon. I love you guys. Thank you very much for all of your support. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's a lot of fun. I like doing these, and the more you guys watch, the more likely I am to do more. So spread the word. Please tell people. Try that again. Strike that. Reverse it. Spread the word. Please tell people about the channel. Let them know that you have a good time here, and I will be back for more over the coming days, months, weeks, years, etc. Oh, I've got a really cool lesson coming in the next, probably tomorrow, with loads of tabs and shit. So taking the triad thing to the next level. So see you then. Laters.